Hello everybody, this is Corey Michael Sanchez here with Mojo. Excited about this call. We have today Joel McDonald, and I'm super psyched. And actually, one cool thing about Joel, and I'm going to give you his bio here in a second, but really an expert in PPC. And he works with all the top PPC experts. You go to a website, you might see ads on the side, or if you're searching something through Google, google.com, just search anything like paperclips. You got this is all pay-per-click advertisement over here, and this is all SEO, this is all organic listings, and this is all pay-per-click advertisement. There's a lot of ways you can scale up your business fast using really effective PPC models, and so that's what I'm excited to have Joel on the line. So I'll let Joel kind of start her off, but we're gonna have a great webinar, so make sure that you take a lot of notes and take action on this stuff. So I'll just throw it on over to you, Joel.
So thanks, Corey. The big thing I want people to know is that we're talking about AdWords, but I want you to purge all thoughts that you have about pay-per-click marketing, because I'm not actually going to talk about AdWords as a pay-per-click mechanism. I'm not going to talk about it for the purpose of driving traffic for the purpose of sales. I want to talk to you about using it in a way cooler, way better way, way easier way than most people think of it, and it's probably the coolest part of pay-per-click advertising. I hope that you weren't thinking that you were going to get, an education on AdWords, because AdWords as a whole is a very large, very massive, very complex tool. We're going to talk about the simplest, coolest part of it that can help you in your business in a lot of different ways. We're going to talk about it as an R&D tool, not necessarily as a traffic tool. And specific for SEO purposes or conversion purposes, which we all know video helps a great deal with. We'll talk about using it to measure, like scientifically and accurately measure how well your video efforts are helping you increase conversions. And like I said, we're going to talk about it today from an SEO standpoint. So the biggest problem with SEO, search engine optimization, is most people think, oh, I'm going to go get some free traffic, I'm going to rank #1 for this keyword, and I'm going to get all sorts of business. The problem is you have to get there first. You have to be able to rank for that term before you can measure the effectiveness of it. And a lot of times that's easier said than done. Sometimes it takes some work. And let's do an example. Let's just say that you are a great guitar player and you want to rank for, you've got some great lessons to give away, you've got some videos that show people how to play the guitar, and you're going to build a list and you're going to start selling tutorials and all that stuff. Sounds great, right? Well, and some preliminary keyword research would tell you that this keyword, guitar lessons online, gets about 12,000 searches a month. Okay, great. That sounds cool. That'd be really great if you could rank in the #1 organic position. Note that this is the #1 organic ranking. These are all pay-per-click rankings. Well, okay, great. So if your goal is to rank for that keyword, a quick little bit of keyword research would tell you that to rank #1 for that keyword that gets 12,000 searches a month, which is, not a lot by some standards, a lot by others. It depends on your definition. But if you do just a little bit of SEO research, you would see that it's that site, guitartricks.com, that currently owns the #1 position, owns that #1 position largely because of the fact that they have 287,000 links pointing at their website. And that's not including their own website, which happens to have 315,000 pages. That becomes a very daunting task suddenly. Maybe you're really, really good at SEO, but even if that's the case, what if it costs 10 cents per page that you put up? That would cost you $31,000 because they have 315,000 web pages on their website, and that has a lot to do with why they're ranking so well. They also have 287,000 links. And if it only cost you $10 cents per link, that would cost you another 28 grand. Just to see if you could compete with the folks there. And my argument is that why would you spend all of that time and effort without even knowing whether or not your website will convert visitors at an affordable rate? Maybe it's very worthwhile, and maybe you're going to make 50 grand a month, and it would be well worth the investment. But would you like to spend 3, 6, 9 months doing SEO and link building and building pages and hiring copywriters and doing all that stuff to see, how you're going to do once you make the first page of Google, let alone number one? Or would you rather just buy some traffic? I would argue that even if your time is only worth $5 or $6 an hour, it's a lot more worth your while to buy some keywords that you want to target, send it to your site, and see how well you can convert those visitors into profits. Not just get them to opt in, but see whether they're tire kickers or real customers that are going to put money in your wallet. And I would propose that it's a lot better to spend $50 or $100, maybe $200 or $300 on pay-per-click to drive the exact visitors that you want to your website, just as a short-term test to see if you can convert. And the solution is by just using AdWords, not as a traffic tool, but as a keyword research tool. Because there are all sorts of tools out there that will tell you what the search volume is, whether or not it's a good keyword. You can see if other people are bidding on it, but that's all irrelevant because your website is going to be different than all of those websites. And you might convert better, but you also might convert worse. And I would propose that it's way cheaper, even if your time is only worth $5 or $6 an hour, let alone $10 or $20 or $50 an hour. It's way cheaper to just write a check for $50 or $100, send some cheap traffic to your website, and see if you can make money off of that. And then if you don't make money, you can reassess, you can tweak your landing page, you can adjust it, and then only after you get your website profiting do you then go after the big money keywords and start competing with other people who obviously have a lot of SEO behind their websites already. So I know what you're thinking. Oh, AdWords, I tried that once and I got $100 in free money from Google and I blew through it and didn't make a dime. Well, my argument is that that's the typical experience. Most people do that, but that's because the majority of people do it the wrong way. As I mentioned earlier, AdWords is a huge, massive, complex tool. But if you do it right, you do not have to spend an arm and a leg. AdWords can be a very, very controllable source of traffic. In fact, I would argue that it's the most controllable source of traffic you can have. And sure, that might be a little more expensive than the quote-unquote free traffic that you can get from the search engines, but the fact that you can drive that traffic starting like 10 minutes from right now and be very scientific and very specific about what traffic you're driving, that is worth its weight in gold. That is like more valuable than can even be put into words. The secret is using the right part of AdWords. And that is that you do not need anything other than Google's search network and exact match. The biggest problem that people have when they advertise on AdWords is that Google's default sends all sorts of other crappy traffic that you don't want in the beginning. Maybe you want that down the road. Maybe that's a source of traffic that you could venture into once you are converting the most predictable traffic affordably. But for research purposes, you absolutely don't want those other things. So for example, like if you're bidding on online guitar lessons, if you use Google's default settings, you would be bidding on exact match terms, which would be online guitar lessons. You would also be bidding on phrase and broad match and to the display network. So you're not just getting traffic for the keyword that you want. You're getting other traffic that Google, at their discretion, decides is relevant.